There we go. Okay. Yeah, my road wasn't on.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy. I was just sharing that Chris Bear nearly gave me a heart attack because I saw Tim Curry and Marissa Tomei. And I was like, no. Marissa Tomei cannot have passed away. This has been a week.
It has. Well, right before we came on to the live, I was scrolling through Facebook and this thing popped up in my Facebook feed. It said breaking news, Clint Eastwood. And I was like, it was that he was retired finally.
He's in his 90s.
But all of the comments, like, you can't put a picture of Clint Eastwood with breaking news right now.
No. This has been a week. Let
me go check on that Walmart order.
I cannot believe that we lost Dolly Parton this week. Like, my heart was not prepared for that. And then on the same day, Tim Curry. So I was able to see like what Chris meant. And that is Tim Curry and Marissa Tomei was in the movie Oscar together. And so I'm like, yeah, because I was just telling Joe, we need to watch that movie. We need to watch Oscar because I love Tim Curry in that.
So welcome to our Thursday live stream. If you are new here, our Thursday live streams are just our chance to hang out with our carnivore and keto community and answer questions about keto and carnivore. So if you have a question, go ahead and type question and then whatever your question is, or use the super chat function. That is the little $ that's down below in the chat window. When you do that, it does help benefit the channel, but more importantly, it's going to highlight our screen and let us know that you have a question. I did want to mention real quick, if I can find the thing, that Keto Chow.
Seasonal flavors.
The seasonal flavors are back.
So, and it's fall. And we were just talking about how in Florida, pretty much the only indication that fall is here is the fall flavors from Keto Chow. We want to have a change of seasons also. But we don't get one unless we have flavors.
Yes. So pumpkin spice,
caramel,
maple waffle, pecan sticky bun, and eggnog.
So right now I have an eggnog egg pudding chilling in the refrigerator.
Yep.
I had some for lunch today. It is awesome. It was really awesome. That's not one that I normally make as an egg pudding, but yes. Yes, an Optimus Prime.
So if you are interested in getting some Keto Chow, which is a great meal replacement drink, I absolutely love it. It is great for recipes, egg pudding. You can make breads with it, and it also makes an amazing ice cream. Use the link that's on the screen or the one down below in the description box, and you will save 10% off of your order.
So
I'm excited today. We put a window in. We finally, the front of the house that has not had a window since the day we bought the house 2 years ago.
It has been boarded
has
up.
A window. We've been in the house for 2 years.
We are starting to look less and less like Boo Radley's house from To Kill a Mockingbird. I feel like if we had trick-or-treaters in this neighborhood, we would no longer be the house that's like, don't go there because that's that house. And like that people make up a scary story about our house because the way it looks. So I feel like every single time we make a home improvement, we get less like that scary house.
Matt Franklin, thank you very much for the $20 super chat. Said we just want you guys to know how much you mean to us and all this wonderful community. We love you guys so much.
I love you guys so much. I saw that Bob and Donna were here. Bob, was it your birthday this week? It's like Dolly Parton and Tim Curry actually died on their birthday. But I just want to see before we sing, was it Bob or it's Donna that had a birthday this week?
So it was interesting. Yeah, we finally put a window in. So that like got us really excited. And when I went to the auction a couple weeks ago, not the small animal auction, but a different auction, I bought this vintage old beat up golf cart.
Yes.
Just got it for a few $100. The batteries are actually in amazing shape, which is like the most expensive part of honestly a golf cart. It costs you like $1,300 to replace batteries.
Because it looks like it came from Caddyshack, the movie, the original.
And I've been restoring it.
Yeah.
And so we've been, until I sell it, we have been driving around the neighborhood with it. And we are not the worst house.
No, that we actually found that there was somebody that's living in a bus, and not one of those ones you see on Instagram where they've like redone it and it's like inside it's a palatial estate. No, like literally like a broke down bus
Yeah.
and they're
I think there's goats in it. I think they're using it as a goat
I don't know
house.
what's happening. Yeah, Bob. Okay, well, let's sing happy birthday to Bob because I
Okay.
don't want his birthday to be overshadowed by sadness, right? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you and many more, so many more. Wow, Miriam made our 2KK chicken nuggets for dinner tonight. Thank you so much for sharing the recipe. Those are definitely one of my faves.
Yeah.
Carnivore chicken nuggets.
So I have something I want to talk about in a second, but I did want to just mention for those of you who are going on the 2KK getaway cruise,
it's getting closer.
We're going to definitely do a live stream next week. We will not have confirmation of the times that we've requested for a couple more weeks, so we don't want to wait any longer, but I will let you know tentatively we will have a meeting area that is not mandatory. It's just a place like not everybody will be there. Some people, it's just a place for you to go and hang out and play games cards, or whatever, cards, whatever you want, from 9 to 11 every day. And then from 3:30 to 5:30 every day on the cruise. And then on the final day, C day, which is like, I think Friday, day 7. We will be doing our cocktail party. It is a non-alcoholic cocktail party. So all non-alcoholic drinks are included. And
look at us.
That will be from 3:30 to 5:30. So they were originally giving it to us like on a port day. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work. Because unfortunately, MSC does not allow any group functions in the evening. So it has to be in the middle of the day, which wasn't my favorite thing, but that's okay.
It's honestly fine because people go to bed at different times. Even on a cruise, you can go to bed whenever you want. So sometimes when there's like, hey, we're partying until 11 o'clock, people are like, dude, I have already had a 16-hour day.
I'm sure what it is they don't want to give up venues for private events, even though we're a very large group. They keep telling us, you are a large group. I'm like, thank you.
Thank you very much.
But the other thing is we will be paying for a 1 hour, not just a photo this time. It is a 1 hour photo session of the group. So you'll be able to do candid shots and that kind of stuff for 1 hour. But we will be doing a group photo within that 1 hour.
Kizzy's got a great question. If you do eat fruit, what do you eat? Well, we tend to eat what is locally grown in season. So sometimes, like if we have mangoes, we will have a mango. But normally it's like berries are usually the things.
We've had one mango in 9 years.
So I think that the berries are usually strawberries, blueberries. We go blueberry picking. We go strawberry picking because we live right next door to Plant City, which is where a lot of strawberries are made. So we could just go, you pick them. Raspberries. We do have some wild grapes that just grow naturally on the farm. And we did enjoy those, but it's so funny because the grapes that grow wild are very different than the ones that you see in the store.
The seed is bigger than the grape.
I was going to say they're full of seeds. They're like a tart burst of flavor and they're about this big.
Yep. Okay. So I know it's not Monday, but we released a video. I wanted to say thank you very much for all of the kind comments on the budget challenge video.
Yes.
And I mean, few nasty comments.
It's fine.
But for the most part, we were just thinking about, a lot of people talk about how, it's very expensive to eat carnivore, and it can be depending on what you eat. And so the whole idea of that video was not the best quality meat. It was, can you eat meat? Can you be carnivore? Dr. Berry has said for years, and he gets beat up for it, that you can do keto on hot dogs and mustard. So with beef being where it is in prices right now, you really can't fit beef into a budget of $25 a week. Honestly, you might be able to fit it at $50 a week at ARC prices, at least where we live, maybe once or twice a week, but it really depends on what you're doing and if you can find good sales or whatever. I was actually glad that we didn't find any clearance meat because it was showing if we can do it on non-clearance prices, then it can be done on clearance.
I thought that was really cool. And I was talking to somebody recently who is needing to utilize food stamps.
Yes.
And so they were asking, like, is this even possible? Or do I need to have a better job, save more money before I begin pursuing better health because it cannot be done with food stamps. And I'm like, that just right in my heart.
Right.
Because it's like, no one is priced out of better health. We can find a way to make this work. And so when some people get really snarky about like things needing to be perfection and don't have any fillers in, like, how dare you use a hot dog that cost $1, I'm able to think back to that person that I was speaking with and the hope in their eyes that it's like, oh, okay, well, it's simpler than I thought it could be.
Well, I mean, there was actually one person who commented that you're not carnivore if you're not eating pastured poultry, pastured pork, pastured beef. And that's simply not true.
Right.
And I know people think that, well, if you eat grain finished, or if you're eating store-bought stuff, that's causing all kinds of autoimmune issues. I promise you it's other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it for sure, but I promise you there's a lot worse things. There's a lot worse things. Just in the water you drink, the air you breathe, the water that you're showering, what are you washing your body with? All of that stuff goes in your body. But when you're on a budget, you do the best you can.
Yes.
And if the only thing you can afford is the cheapest eggs, you're still doing better than anybody eating the standard American diet. And that was the whole point of that. But there were a couple of nasty comments about Walmart. So I decided to throw one in here because otherwise I'm going to have way too many on Monday. Did they really just post that?
Oh, wow. A special Thursday night.
Special Thursday night one. And this was off of that video.
Okay.
And are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Because I have a response. And I don't even know if this is a regular subscriber.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, and the eggs aren't even real. Also from China. You know what? Can you imagine the logistics of like bringing over those big containers of like eggs? Like sometimes I've dropped eggs or just like they bump together when I'm bringing them from outside into our home. And I just think about the logistics. Imagine like loading up just like pallets and pallets of eggs, raw eggs.
That may be one of the dumbest comments on a video that we have produced that I've ever seen.
From China.
That the eggs in Walmart are coming from China.
That's a long way.
What is the chance that
they're selling them
they would actually make it here completely intact?
Why not?
I feel like even if you could ship fresh eggs from China, which would come by sea, by the way, that doesn't happen overnight.
Does it?
Okay, what is the chance that you would, more than 20% of those eggs would actually make the trip without breaking?
Well, I just thought like, how long would they be in the ship? Even if everything is perfect and they have a system, I feel like it just would not be
it wouldn't work.
Financially responsible. Maybe it's coming over in like a wish.com. Or my Temu order or something is coming from there. I tried Temu one time. I really did. Yeah. And I got majorly hosed.
Okay, let's read some of these comments. Grand Aunt Renee said, I think you should have to surrender your carnivore card if you're acting like a butthole about being a carnivore.
I know. I think the same thing about like, if you have a Jesus bumper sticker or a pin and you act like a complete butthole, then I want to like, I want to pull it off of your bumper and I want to take it off of.
Yeah.
Take it off.
It off. Matt said, we're lucky to get eggs delivered to the house without one or two cracking. Right. How would they possibly survive a trip from China to Florida?
But there's somebody going, oh my gosh, I'm eating China eggs now because it must be true because they can't put anything on the internet that's not true, right?
Chris said, I like to gatekeep lifestyles and tell people when they aren't meeting my arbitrary requirements. It makes me feel superior and good about myself.
Right? It's like a lot of energy. I do think that somebody wakes up and they get their cup of coffee and they sit down, they have like a whole routine, like crack their knuckles and they're like, now I shall be an idiot. Like, do you think they're just like, what is the...
So Terry had a question. Do you have to be concerned about Tabitha with the wild grapes on the farm? No, and they're not poisonous. Here's what I've learned about, Tabitha and honestly, most animals, they know what they should eat and what they shouldn't.
It's funny. You'll see them go around it.
I mean, for example, there's an invasive weed/tree in Florida. It's called Florida holly. It is poisonous. I mean, it's not going to kill us, but like for most animals, it would really mess with their digestive system, make them really sick. And there is one or two where we've cut it down and it's kind of come back. And even with the sheep, with the pigs, we put them out in pasture and there's some there. They eat around it.
They eat around it. It's amazing. I think that there's so much more danger for animals.
We're the only idiots that eat stuff that are going like, I wonder if this will kill me.
Can we please like get the plant app? There's plant apps that are free that you can take a picture of it and like check it. Cause I do that all the time. Like not just because is this going to be poisonous, but are the pigs, for instance, going to eat this in an improper ratio and like it's going to screw up their, you know, their body. But if something is outdoors and natural, I feel like the animals know what to do with it. It's when it's inside and it's like, oh, that's a shiny package of sugar-free gum. And then the dog goes after it and eats that and makes itself sick. Like, I think I think we've had more trouble trying to fish things out of Tabitha's mouth indoors where she doesn't understand what is this packaging rather than when any of the animals are outdoors.
Right.
You know?
Uncle Charlie, is bacon good for carnivore? Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. And so this is what I'm talking about. I've probably been kicked out of and lost my keto carnivore card from so many people within the hardcore carnivore community, but that's okay. A lot of hardcore carnivores are going to tell you that you should only eat bacon that is like got absolutely no sugar in it. Like if there's any kind of sugar on the label, it's not carnivore. They're going to tell you if it's got sodium nitrate, it's not carnivore. That you should only be consuming uncured bacon. First of all, there really is no such thing as uncured bacon unless you're just eating straight pork belly. Because all bacon is pork belly that is cured. So when you go to the store and you buy bacon that says uncured, if you flip over the label, it generally has celery. They use celery for a curing process. So they're not using pink salt, but they are using celery or celery powders. It's still curing it.
So I think it's really important sometimes people are really like dogging pork. And then when you get down to the root of like, why are you so angry at it? It has to do with like religious observation. And so it's against their religion to eat pork. So that's going to be different for different people.
Right.
So if it's part of your faith not to eat a certain animal, we totally understand that.
But that's different than the carnivores who are saying don't eat bacon because it's got sugar.
But I feel like I've bumped into a lot of people lately that are like, I can't, I'm not going to do that. That's terrible. And then you're like, okay, what? Well, actually, we don't eat that in my religion. And so that's kind of a different conversation.
So for the bacon, though, here's the deal about the sugar. Sugar is part of the curing process. We actually have a video on how to make your own bacon. It's a fairly simple process, but it does take about 2 weeks really to get a good bacon. It's part of the curing process. When you cook it, that doesn't end up in your body. And Dr. Berry's even talking about flip over the label. If it's got less than 1 carb for a reasonable serving, which would be at least 2 slices, you're good. Okay. So most of us eat a lot of bacon. I know a lot of carnivores eat a lot of bacon, but you will get the hardcores. Usually they're the people who won't consume coffee or anything like that. I mean, there's actually somebody in one of the carnivore groups who posts a lot, and somebody put something up about some plants are really good medicine. And this person said, well, all plants tear up your gut. Therefore, I would not take anything. I don't care if it's good medicine. And like my response is, so if you got cancer, would you not get chemo or radiation? Because that is a lot more poisonous than any plant. We actually have a guy across the street from us that just gave us a gallon of honey to help him cut his house. I mean, that would last me like 100 years.
Right.
But I will use a teaspoon of honey probably once or twice a week because it helps with my allergies. That is medicine. And it's, to me, better than any store-bought medicine that I can take for allergies.
I think it's so sweet that like we've got a barter system going on in the community. Like, oh, you have a mower, I have honey. Like, can I trade you? Like, could you mow my lawn for honey?
Denise said, I love the video on processed meat. Thank you very much. And again, that spawned from, you know, people putting up videos about, I've seen people in groups literally commenting, you should not buy meat from anybody unless they're hand cutting it. Well, that's nonsense.
Good luck.
And then also, I didn't even realize this until after we made that video. Actually, I noticed it today that a few weeks ago, several people put up videos about Costco hauls, and
Nice.
they all talked about blade tenderization.
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, they were kind of on the opposite of like, hey, yes, understand they're doing this, but most people eat it and don't get sick, which is true. But I think our job is to alert you that that's what it is. Blade tenderization is just them poking it with needles and stuff. And technically you're supposed to cook it to a different temperature.
I think sometimes, you know, you see some creative content, kind of like, I think about like the bearded butchers. They'll show you like them cutting up stuff, and it's like a hand cutting in, you know, in their kitchen. And it just feels so accessible. But you got to know that if they're your personal butchers, your meat is going to cost a lot of money. If anybody is preparing food in like a really special way and like you're getting personalized service to that extent, like I want you to break down this cow for me, like it is going to cost some dinero to do that thing.
Everyone's saying we need to stop. We need to watch Oscar.
I want to. I love that movie.
I've been looking for a movie to watch. I caught up on The Lioness, which I love that show. Anything Taylor Sheridan is like, I love watching anything from Taylor Sheridan. But I watched the preview for, what is the new movie that has Clint Eastwood's son?
Scott Eastman. I don't know. Why am I
I want to watch
on
that
quiz
movie.
show all of a sudden?
I want to watch that movie.
Not only does it have Clint Eastwood's son, it has Tom Hanks' son in it. So it's got Colin Hanks.
Has anybody seen that movie? I forgot the name of it. Let me know if it's any good before I try to watch it. Serena said the bees get pollen from local flowers. A small exposure to those pollens will help with allergies in the long run. Yes, and you can only do local honey if you have allergy issues.
See, I really think that would be good. Miriam said we talked to Max about becoming a butcher, and he said he wants to process an animal from the beginning to the end, including making a hat from the leather. Yes,
that is awesome.
We were riding around in our golf cart, and I saw that somebody had obviously like had their cow processed, and then they asked to keep the skin from it, and they were drying the skin.
Robin said it's interesting how all of a sudden there's a beta videos on the same or very similar topic. I don't think it's people copying each other because I know some of the creators don't follow anybody. There are some creators who kind of work together and they kind of make a topic video and then they all come up with a very similar video. Also, it's a pretty well-known fact within the influencer thing is what you do is you kind of pay attention to like algorithms and what's going on, and if you see a topic hit, then
make a video too.
The same video.
Exactly the same
video. We just have never really done that, which is why we don't grow.
We're always on the opposite end of the spectrum,
right?
Like, weirdly.
And you notice that happen like with the Lead and Redmond thing, like one person made it and then there were like 5 other people who made literally the same video within 3 days of each other. So it happens on a regular basis because it's YouTube rewards the algorithm. One thing hits and then if you make it, YouTube is going to reward you too.
So Lynn says the chicken in our store is 90% skinless. What is going on? People just like to cook with that. It's, you get a deal from having, like really cutting down a whole chicken is where you're going to save the most amount of money. But most people, especially like our children's generation, they want what they get when they go to, out to eat. So if I'm cooking at home and you've been used to going to Panda Express or Chili's or anything like that, it's all, skinless, boneless,
right?
Easy ways to cook it. So I think that just the popularity of that makes it that we're just seeing more and more of it. And they could charge more money for it.
Right. I saw one up here. Breezy said, I just bought some honey for that very reason. Kizzy, do you ever have just carnivore days or meals or just keto days or meals? I would honestly, here's the thing. 95% of the time we're eating just meat.
For
it
laziness.
Has nothing to do with we are a carnivore. And my personal opinion is if you are eating, if 85 to 90% of your diet is meat. So if you look down at your plate and 95% of it is meat, or if you look down at your plate and it's all meat but once in a while you have a salad, you are a carnivore.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, there has never been a human civilization in the history of the world that was only eating meat ever. Never happened.
We are attempting to do it now. Apparently.
We're trying to do it for some reason, but it's never existed before. So it's eating carnivore, like where the strict carnivores are like no coffee, no spices, no herbs, no plant of anything. That's not an ancestral diet because there's no ancestor that's ever lived on Earth that ate that way. So it can't be an ancestral diet. For us, we eat mostly meat because it's easy. We buy every once in a while, we'll buy a head of lettuce or something and be like, I would like a wedge salad. And then you throw it in the back of the refrigerator and then 2 weeks later it's brown and dripping gook. And then at least now we feed it to the pigs.
Right.
My treat to myself is I buy frozen broccoli every once in a while. I then cook that and then load it with butter, sour cream, and cheese.
Like you would a baked potato.
Yes. So that's like my treat. So we have days where we only eat meat. We have days where we will incorporate like keto chows or we will incorporate a salad. But most of our days are meat just because it's easy and quick. I don't have to think.
It's not because it's virtuous.
Right.
That we eat the way we do. And I think that what makes it funny though is when I think about like, okay, previous people groups that maybe ate closer to a carnivore diet. I think of like the Inuits or whatever. I don't think any one of them, if you ask them to identify themselves, would be like, I am a carnivore. They'd be like, I'm a part of this tribe. Right. This is the place I'm from. I'm a Spaniard, or I am, you know what I mean? I'm an Aztec, or something. I don't think anybody, I think this is definitely new that people are like, I would like to drop every other label in my life and be completely identified by the food that I ate.
So the Inuits are the closest it's ever been, like mostly almost all meat. But even them ate berries, they eat seaweed, they eat the intestines of animals. Like they literally cut it open and eat all of the stuff in there. But it's not that they're not eating other fruits or vegetables or anything because of I'm a carnivore.
Right.
It's because it's not available. But if they find it, they eat it. So like berries in the couple of weeks that they can find it, they eat a lot of like seaweeds and things like that.
Well, and I think of, I mean, this is so silly, this discussion, but like, I think of our cat is a true carnivore. Like a cat is a carnivore.
Yes.
Absolutely carnivore. However, if our cat's tummy is upset, what does the cat do?
Eats grass.
Always goes outside and uses plants in a medicinal fashion.
That's right.
So I think that we could at least have the same rules as our feline friends.
Chris said, it's time to talk about adding baking soda to ground beef so that it cooks tender delicious. Absolutely. Add a half a teaspoon per pound.
Okay, so something I talked about, if you were in the premiere with me yesterday when we were talking about cooking up chicken legs and chicken thighs, something that I do is put some baking powder with the seasoning. So, if I want to season it with paprika and garlic and onion, or, whatever seasoning you want, flock seasoning on it, before I put the guys in the air fryer, I put a little baking powder in that too. And it really crisps up the skin.
Yeah. Jana said, I had to stop keto and carnivore diet to my husband's passing
I'm so
on
sorry.
June 2nd. I've lost from 120 to 208 pounds. I found out that I have COPD and fluid in my heart. I'm so weak now. I have to gain weight. I'm so sorry. We will be praying for you.
Absolutely. And that's, when you're talking about you're having to gain weight, like I do think that's where you can use the fat volume as something to help you in that.
Right. Rick said, I don't usually eat bacon due to the expense, but when I have it, I eat it. And then Chris said, okay, see here, food laws in the United States, like companies use terms like uncured or no nitrates added if the curing agent comes from celery juice. But again, it is cured. They're just allowed to say it's uncured, but it is cured because the celery gives the nitrates. So it's kind of semantics.
I was talking to Nancy Tanner is up visiting her mom right now, and she I forgot the name of the store, but it's like just a local grocery store, and she was just like, the meat prices here are unbelievable. And so she was just sharing it, and one of the big sells was like their bacon was like it was like $2.99 a pack.
Wow.
It was like crazy cheap.
Rick said, I've never heard of anyone using honey for allergies. That's a great idea. Yes, but it has to be local honey. And again, the idea is the bees are pollinating the local plants. And then so your allergies are from the pollen. So it really helps. Now, what's even better than honey, if you can get it, is the actual bee pollen.
Yes.
So they're like, look like
granules.
Little tiny granulars BBs. And if you can get that, but again, it's got to be local. Like you can't live in Florida and go to California and buy bee pollen. Doesn't work. It's got to be from where you are.
Right.
Chris said, on the other hand, I know a few obligate carnivores that have had severe allergies to nearly anything plant.
Sure. Yes. But I think it's very important for us to not try to solution the exception. So there are always going to be people who have to do things like very, very strict. They need very, very specific protocols. But thankfully right now, we personally are not having to do something that would force us never to eat a hot dog or bacon or, a Boston butt or, that sort of thing.
Bill said, I call carnivores who have a list of no's fundamental carnivores. No fun and totally mental.
Aww.
Chris said, I eat some plants for entertainment purposes, mostly onions and garlic. I do know a lot of extremely strict meat and salt only carnivores that drink coffee.
Right. So it's like pick your back. I'm like that with Serena saying, Nisha says like vegetables are accessories.
Yep. We call them for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Breezy, what is the correct way to wash a fresh egg? So what do you mean by when you mean you're talking about just like you get fresh eggs from like us and wash them? I will tell you, don't wash them until you're going to use them. If you want me to be honest, we rarely wash our eggs unless they're extremely dirty.
Right.
But like if we go out and, somebody decided, I don't want to use the nesting box, so I'm going to use the corner and the floor, and then a bunch of people sit on it and then it gets some poop on it. We'll kind of clean it off a little bit, like get rid of the excess poop, but we will still leave that on our counter and, we clean it off the best we can and we don't wash it. And then when we go to use it, we will just kind of take a sponge. But I would not wash fresh eggs.
If you want to keep them out.
Whether you want to put them in the refrigerator or in your whether you want to put them on the counter or in the refrigerator, I would not wash fresh eggs until you're getting ready to use them. So eggs have a bloom on them. It's a protective coating on the outside. That's what keeps them fresh. When you wash them, you remove that bloom. That actually allows more bacteria and stuff to get into eggs. So, like, again, we've kind of mentioned this in the past, like in the state of Florida, and honestly in almost every state, because it's a federal thing, it is illegal to sell fresh eggs, even from someone's backyard like us. If money is changing hands, or honestly, if any good is changing hands, like you can't even barter for them legally. They must be washed, sanitized with like a bleach type solution, and refrigerated. So the exception is the way we sell them, which is I sell them as these are hatching eggs. Now, it doesn't mean I can't eat them. It means that
You could hatch
chances
them.
are they're fertilized.
Yes.
Because we have roosters. And so what I'm doing is I'm selling you eggs, assuming that you are going to go home and incubate them to get chickens. Now, if you don't and you decide to eat them, not my problem. It's all about, like, what we don't know. Or we also can legally sell them as pet food. So
whether you have a pet or not.
We have a pet food license.
Yes.
But we don't wash our eggs because most people don't want fresh eggs washed, because an unwashed fresh egg, you can put that in your refrigerator. It'll last for 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
It'll last on your counter for 2 to 4 weeks if you don't wash it. But the second you wash it, all bets are off.
Right.
So if you want to wash it, what I'd say is, like, when you go to use it, if you just want to make sure there's nothing on the eggshell or anything, just underneath your sink, maybe you can use a little fingernail brush or whatever, like a fruit and vegetable brush or something like that.
I just want to say, because we're talking a lot about, like, what do we eat, what berry, what vegetables. If you are new to the 2KK getaway cruise and you're going to be cruising with us, just know there are no rules. There's nobody that's going to be judging your plate or looking to see, like, what is your ratio of meat to vegetables or meat to strawberries, right? No one is going to be judging you at all. No one cares what you're eating. We are there as, like, a community to just visit with one another. And some people are bringing along family members and friends who aren't keto at all, and we're tickled to get to hang out with them.
Rick said I collect duck eggs from the nests around here. Steph said the regenerative farm I order from doesn't clean the bloom. I mean, most of us just don't. And honestly, most people are selling their eggs. They're technically illegal, and most places aren't going to really bother you. But every once in a while, you could end up with an issue.
Stacy's had a great deal come across her today. Kroger has chicken thighs, buy one, get 2 free. Bought 15 packs. Now I have 10 packs of 6 thighs, 2 packs of chunk, 2 gallons of bones and trimmings for stock, and skins to fry broken down in the freezer. That is awesome. That's a great deal.
Serena said, I'm in Montana. Only thing that sneaks in are mice and spiders.
Yikes. I am getting, like, a thick skin. I was taking out the trash, and all of a sudden this, like, giant spider, like, came out. And normally I would be like, sell the house. Like 2 years ago, I would have been like, sell the house. We can't live here. Look at how big that spider is. And I was like, oh, get off my garbage can. I was like, oh, who am I?
Okay. Anything else here?
Yes. Before we leave, I would like to,
you have about 20 minutes.
As a tribute to Dolly, I would like to share some of my favorite one-liners from her. If you have a one-liner, go scroll all the way to the bottom, because
we are on the bottom.
If somebody else has a one-liner from Dolly or Tim Curry or Optimus Prime, share that. But I was looking up once, because there's just so many things that, like, everything she said, you could t-shirt, right? Something that I have said a lot when people have asked me about my outfit choices, it costs a lot of money to look this cheap. I always go to that. Like, I think that is awesome. Another one she had was, I'm not offended by all the dumb blonde jokes, because I know I'm not dumb, and I also know I'm not blonde. That is awesome. Let's see. Sabrina said, ours don't last long enough to go bad, washed or not.
Yeah. I mean, we can't keep eggs here between us selling them and us eating them. Like, we just can't even keep them. I mean,
no.
And especially because the heat has been so bad. Today was the first time we've had rain in a week.
I was
so grateful for that, because everything's turning to hay. And so whenever it gets really hot, they stop laying.
Yeah. Robin said that she tends to get possums at her house. She had quite the possum situation recently. People always ask me how long it takes to do my hair. I don't know. I'm never there because they're wigs, right? That's so awesome. I think a lot of people have heard her said this. If I see something sagging, bagging, or dragging, I'll have it nipped, tucked, or sucked. And nice. I got to say, even though she said that, it has given me confidence over the years after losing so much weight and then having saggy skin. And, I'm going to wear some outfits, but yeah, I may have to wear pantyhose to keep it all contained. You know, I have to be strategic with sleeves sometimes, but I don't know. She always like inspired me to like not feel bad about that.
Rick said we went 3 weeks without rain, but we got some this week. Yeah, it's been pretty bad and it's been hot. And Stacy said Costco has, I may have to go to Costco. Costco has $10 off of a pork belly. We bought the 2 smallest packs, so they ended up like $25 each, broken down to 12 meals.
Wow.
Carnivore bargains. We love our sales. I do Stacy Keto, which is now beef, butter, bacon, and egg. And
so good.
That is something to keep in mind. Thanks for like reminding people, Stacy, that when you go to places like Costco, Sam's Club, BJ's, those kind of places, and they're having a sale on meat, and it's like $5 off a package, $10 off a package, buy the smallest package they have.
Yes.
Don't buy the biggest one and go, oh, I'm getting $10 off. Buy the smallest one and buy more than one, because then you're paying less money per pound for the meat. It's only if they're discounting it per pound, but if it's per package, always buy the smallest pound.
Okay.
The smallest package.
So she did have one related to diets that I wanted to share. She said, I tried every diet in the book. I tried some that weren't in the book. I tried eating the book. It tasted better than most of the diets. I agree, right?
Denise, I worked hard for my saggy skin. I'll take it over being unhealthy.
Same here. I love that.
Sean
Straight Talk.
I love the movie Straight Talk with Dolly and James Woods.
That was so good. I was the first woman to burn my bra. It took the fire department 4 days to put it out. I love it. Okay, I only have 3 more, and then it's your pain is over.
My pain is over.
Okay, so 3 more. This one I thought was really good. I describe my look as a blend of Mother Goose, Cinderella, and the local hooker. I would say that's accurate, right? And I love her style. Okay, next one. I've always said, if you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. I think that's very true. And the last one, I had to add this on later. It was so cute. I have little feet because nothing grows in the shade. I just thought those were so great.
Sean said there's a lot of one-liners in that movie. And Aaron said there's a great video going around from David Letterman where Dolly did a top 10 of her pet peeves.
I have got to look that up.
Bob said we're getting thunderstorms every other day.
Send them our way,
we should be
please.
getting them every day. But we've been having to buy hay because, you know, like the pasture has gotten so dry because, again, you're just out there in the sun beating down and it's drying and drying and drying and drying. And every day that we don't get rain, it's hotter the next day. That's just kind of how it works.
Well, and that's why, honestly, we have this rooster named Celebration. He's so beautiful and he's having a hard time. I mean, now he's like on medicine and he got overheated. And then it's the combination of like, it's just so hot. And then you'll get just enough of moisture to make it like damp, to maybe dampen stuff. And it's really hard on their respiratory systems. Chickens have a very sensitive respiratory system.
Matt said we got a good rainstorm here last night. Got almost 4 inches of rain.
Wow. I guess your pasture has no irrigation.
No, we don't have any. Most of the houses around here don't have anything out on there. And, you know, we have one well. And I've looked into putting another well over like in the pasture, but you're talking $10,000, $15,000. We just don't have that money. So
Hi, Josh.
Yeah, it is what it is. And we'll buy some hay to kind of help supplement.
Tim Curry was in the hunt for Red October.
Yes,
that was so good. Marianne said it's raining in Jacksonville right now. Yes, that there was a line in 9 to 5 about changing her boss from a rooster to a hen with a shot. Yes, that was a great one.
Live Station Express, what are you guys drinking? I'm drinking a Rise energy drink.
I am drinking, this is so weird, but Joe made tea, you know, and I added a bunch of water to it. So it really does look kind of weak. It's like some weak tea going on here.
Yeah, Stacy said, I love the pic of your filthy pigs in the grass field on the Carnivore site. Yes, because I'm just decided like I'm going to be a smart aleck now and I don't care. So somebody, I didn't even tell you this, somebody put in one of the carnivore groups how you should not eat pigs because they are filthy, disgusting animals that do nothing but roll around in their own SHI. And that's
You
how.
haven't met my pigs.
And so I posted a picture. Does this look like pigs that are rolling around and all dirty?
So
and
what is funny,
like in the middle of green pasture?
So they love being in the swimming pools, and Maggie,
that's because they don't sweat,
right? And so Maggie in particular is very partial to the turtle shaped swimming pool that Aunt Robin got for her. And Maggie doesn't like being dirty so much that she'll be nosing through stuff, like the pasture, and she'll get dirt on her nose and will immediately go over to the pool to just wash her face off.
Now, granted, if we had mud, they would roll in mud, but they're not doing it because they're dirty animals.
They're cooling.
So unfortunately, we have very sandy soil, and I'm looking into bringing in like topsoil so I could make a mud pit for them. But we move them, so once a week they move to a new area. What am I going to do? Dig a new mud pit all over
every
right?
week.
So that's why we use the pools, because we move them every week. But pigs don't sweat. So the way they cool themselves down is they roll in the mud. So we give them pools and they pretty much live in those pools because it keeps them cool. But what they would really prefer is to be dirt in there, mud in there, because the mud becomes like, it's like an elephant. Yeah. Would you call an elephant a dirty, filthy animal?
It's like a mud mask.
They're putting a mask on them because it keeps them cooler longer.
I like what Denise said. It's not an issue unless you're eating your pig raw. Like, yeah, like even if it was dirty, right? Like I gotta tell you, we're around cows a lot. They're not pristine. You wouldn't let them live in the house,
right?
They could get poop on their butt and their legs and stuff. I mean, come on, like it's so crazy.
I really disappointed Rachel. I took her out. We went out to see the ewes, the girl sheep. And she got very upset.
They're in love with Joe. He is clearly their shepherd. I am an under shepherd. And if I do have something like a tasty treat, everybody but Ruth. Ruth just loves everybody. But they no matter where he goes, it's just a line of ladies behind him. Everywhere.
They'll go anywhere I tell them to go.
Anywhere. And as soon as they see him, like they see him driving up or he's walking around the farm, they're like, hey, they're like a bunch of construction workers that are like catcalling you constantly. Just like, hey.
The funny thing is see, I don't need all the animals to love me. I look at animals of like your dinner or you're going to breed me dinner. Rachel wants every animal to love her and cuddle them and name them and everything else.
Love me.
And meanwhile, I don't even do anything. And I walk out and she was like,
typical.
Why? They won't do that for me.
Okay, so people are naming some movies like, we need to make a weekend of this, friends. The Three Musketeers completely forgot. Yes, he is like the bad guy in that movie and he's freaking excellent at it. Go down because I saw another recommendation. Clue is another fantastic Tim Curry. Annie, the first one, he's awesome. I think isn't his character's name Rooster? He's Miss Hannigan's brother in the movie.
Yes. So Rick said, I don't know how parking lot chickens can live here. I don't either. I, for the life of me, do not understand how all those chickens live in the Keys. Like you go down to Key West, they're just up and down the whole sidewalk.
They're in the trees, though.
I know,
they're
but
very flighty.
Like they don't have access to a lot of fresh water. I don't know.
I feel like there are businesses that kind of lure them because, tourists want the experience of being around the chickens all the time. And so it's kind of kitschy.
Rick said, I like mean ducks because they become dinner.
Didn't the Rocky Horror Picture Show? Yes, that's totally Tim Curry.
Okay,
I didn't realize he was Pennywise in the original It movie. Yep. That's crazy. Yeah, Key Largo has a bunch of chickens too. I almost lost my stuff when we were in Key West, and there was a mama chicken.
See what I'm talking about? How do they survive?
I don't know how they survive.
No
babies.
We literally, for those of you who are new, we were going through. I think we actually had it on a video. We're walking through the Keys in Key West, and there's a chicken, and she's got like 6 little baby chicks
Going
with her,
right
probably
behind her.
about 2-3 days old. And they're going with her, and she walks across the storm grate.
And
then
goes
all
down.
of a sudden, one goes down. And then, so now the rest of them don't go down. And then she realizes, I lost a chick.
It's cheaping.
So she turns around, goes back, and is standing on top of the storm grate, looking down, going, how do I get him back? But because she's standing on the storm grate,
Another
so
one
do
goes
all
down.
the other chicks. And we watched one by one, all of these baby chicks go down a storm drain. So we finally picked up the last 2
to like
and moved them.
And so I am trying, and this storm, this thing is like, you can't pull it out. Like the old school one, you could pull the center out of it. This one was go in there. So we're stopped traffic at this point, and I put my arm down in there, and my arm gets stuck trying to get the chicken out of the storm grate because
law of natural selection.
Well, thank you, arm skin.
Robin said that happened to some of the Muscovy baby ducks on my street last year.
Oh.
Rick said downtown Miami is full of chickens around the county building, and chickens are illegal. Yeah.
A lot of times, I don't even know if you're getting a lot of new babies. It's usually where everyone discards a rooster because their homeowners association or where they live is, you don't want a whole bunch of roosters. And at least
it actually goes back to worse than that.
At least 50% of anything you hatch out, and more like 75% of anything you buy at Tractor Supply, winds up being a rooster.
Yeah, a lot of it comes from like cockfighting and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that's not the only thing. A lot of it is when we got a rooster accidentally, because we were trying to.
We didn't dispose of it in the Keys.
We didn't dispose of it in the Keys. I drove 4 hours to rehome that rooster, but most people are like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm throwing it into the canal in the backyard and like, good luck. Be free. We need to not free things like that.
Okay. Since we don't have any questions, I don't see any questions coming up. Anything new going on for next week or anything like that?
Well,
you're leaving me.
I'm leaving you tomorrow night and Saturday night to watch the grandbabies. And then we will have a meeting for the cruise.
Goats tomorrow.
With guts?
Goats.
You're eating guts tomorrow?
Rachel's leaving me 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to the auction. I'm buying animals.
Oh, Rick puts mesh under the storm drains. That's really...
What? There are 2 emus. Should I get an emu?
No.
There
Rooster
are 2
stew.
Emus.
We do have a policy of any mean animal.
We don't even butcher them. We just take them to the auction and let them be somebody else's
But they
problem.
have become the quail.
That becomes food. Quail become food.
Quail quickly become dinner.
But old roosters, they're only good for soup.
Yeah.
They're not. You don't want to eat those things. So, okay, we are going to get off, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will be back live on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern for Keto Beyond the Couch. And then Rachel will also have her coaching live stream next Wednesday for the paid members of our Mighty Network group at 10 a.m. Eastern.
We love you guys.
Have a good night.